With language learning, something is always better than nothing. Hi guys, welcome to this week's video. Today I'm going to be sharing some things that I do when I don't want to study languages but I still have to. I try to study every single day, but that doesn't mean that every single day I want to study. There's some days where it's kind of hard. As a language YouTuber, you'd feel like all the time I'm down to study, like I'm ready to go. That's not really true. There are days where I literally don't want to study. I don't know where to start. And over time, I've kind of figured out the best entry points. And they're just like ways to warm yourself up and get back into language learning. This is for the days where you're not at 100% and you're not really, ready to sit down for 4 hours, but you still want to do language practice. There are some days where it's really easy to spring out of bed, go straight to your desk and full steam ahead, focus for 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever it is. There's some days where that's just easy, like you just woke up on the right side of the bed. But then again, there's some days where you're feeling a bit low, and honestly, studying languages is just not what you want to do. It's not your priority. It's just like it becomes a chore. I feel like to effectively learn a language, even the days where you don't feel like it and language learning can feel a bit of a chore, the fact that you still go ahead and do it, I feel like that's what makes a difference between somebody that can learn a language in a year and someone that doesn't. On the days where you don't feel like it, did you still show up? And that's what I'm here to help with. There is no way that I could have reached fluency in a year, like no way, if I just did nothing when I didn't feel 100%. But you're not going to feel 100% every day, and that's fine. With language learning, it's not all or nothing. If you wake up on 10%, do 10% is what I'm saying. The first thing that I do, which I'm going to recommend to you guys as well, is start off by watching something small. And when I say small, I don't mean an episode, I don't mean a film, I literally mean a small video on YouTube. A small, not a short. I feel like shorts are a bit too short, but do you see what I did there? Yeah, so like a video on YouTube, literally 5 minutes, maybe 10. And basically just watch something that you can understand. Maybe it can be a short video on YouTube that you like in your target language that you've already watched before. Something that isn't going to hurt you, I could say. Bear in mind, the reason why this video has to be something that you can understand and it has to be something that isn't going to, stress you out too much is because we're already in a day where we don't even want to study languages. You know what I mean? So we're very fragile right now. This is already a day where we didn't even want to study, but we are easing ourselves into it. So that's why I say the video that you watch, let it be something that you can comprehend. So I'm not talking about challenging yourself right now. I'm not talking about watching something that is going to be difficult, that has a loads of vocabulary that you don't know. Watch something that you've already watched before. If that's what you want to do, watch a video that you've already watched before that you know what they're talking about. If you want to watch something new, let it be something you already have a feeling that you will understand. You'll be able to watch it. It's not going to stress you out, because bear in mind, in a way you could say this video is waking up your ears, because your ears have been hearing your native language all day, and the last thing they want to hear is something confusing. So you want to put on something easy in your target language just to wake up that part of your brain, wake up your hearing, wake up your ears to that sound so you can begin. You don't want to jump in the deep end head first and stress yourself out to the point that you're like, you know what, I don't even want to study languages today anyway. That's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is take a day where you weren't going to do any language practice and convert it into a day that's actually productive, and you do get some language practice out of it. It's the same as like when people go to the gym or when you work out. You stretch first, you do a warm-up first, you don't just go straight into it. Like with language learning, it's like we forget that it's also brain training. Your brain is training. Like your brain needs to wake up, your brain needs to start somewhere. So some days you're going to need more of a warm-up than others. Okay, step 2. So what you're going to do after you've watched this short 5-10 minute video is you're going to do some flashcards. And the reason why I say flashcards is because flashcards are they can be kind of easy. So you're just going to do some flashcards that you've seen before. And the reason why I say this is because each time you get a flashcard right, you're going to get a little like kick of dopamine, and it's going to make you feel good. It's going to make you feel good about learning. I don't really know the science behind it, but like, on Duolingo where it goes and it like gives you those little sound effects and it just like makes you happy, like that's the same effect we're gonna get from flashcards. I know on this channel I always speak about the importance of speaking practice, For the sake of this video, I'm going to say don't do any speaking. Just don't. If you're in a position where you're already not feeling great and you're already not feeling like doing language practice and you haven't studied in ages, I would say just don't do it. Like, because for me at least, the minute I make a mistake while speaking, my world around me like collapses. I could be speaking, I make a mistake, I'm like, oh, I knew I couldn't speak Spanish. I don't know how you're going to react in this situation. So you can try it maybe, but for me at least, if I'm already having a bad day and I'm speaking and I make a mistake, like, that just like, that hurts. Like, that really hurts. I would say avoid speaking for now. Like, hold off. We're going to get there. Don't worry, but just not yet. Making mistakes when you're already feeling low, like, that's just disheartening. You know, when you're already having a bad day and you walk past your door and then like your sleeve gets caught in the door handle or something, that is speaking and making a mistake when you're already having a bad day.
Cut the show. I'm done. Take me off. Take me off. Cut the show.
It's not the vibe. Stop!
I would say if you're just warming up and you're trying to get back in the flow of things, do not jump in head first with trying to speak for half an hour, which I would usually recommend. Instead of speaking, as I said, we're going to focus more on input, we're going to focus more on listening, we're going to focus more on receiving the language and taking it in rather than putting anything out. Because as I said, we need to warm up. Our brains have been thinking in our native language the whole day. We just need to remind our brain like, hey, wake up. Okay, so now you've done a lot of input and you've received a lot of your target language. I feel like now, more or less, we're ready to start producing some output, you know? If you feel ready, this is the time. We're not going to speak, but we're going to write. And the reason why we're going to do some writing instead of speaking is because it's slower. Speaking and writing are almost identical. Obviously, we have differences because with speaking, you practice your accent, you practice your pronunciation, you practice the sound, whereas with writing, we don't really get that kind of depth. However, for the sake of this being a warm-up, we're going to start by writing. So you're just going to write a short diary entry. You're going to write a short paragraph. Maybe you can describe something around you. You're just going to write. The thing I love about writing is you can catch your mistakes before you've even made them. And you can be about to write something, but your brain goes and you quickly change it. You have more time to think. The last part of this warm-up is speaking, my favorite part. But I've left it at the end deliberately because out of all of the different steps, speaking, for me at least, I would say can be the hardest. When you make a mistake, you have to not let it throw you off completely. There's a lot of different components to speaking, which you don't get with reading, you don't get with watching, you don't really get with writing either. What you're going to do is you're going to record yourself on your phone, your laptop, you're going to sit in front of your mirror. You can do anywhere from 10 minutes to half an hour. It really depends on how much of a warm-up you feel like you need, how prepared you feel like you are, and you're not going to be harsh on yourself when you make mistakes. When you make mistakes, just take a deep breath and keep going. And what I like to do whenever I make a mistake in my target language is I just go, you know what? I'm doing pretty well considering this isn't my native language. Just be nice to yourself, really, because this is already a day where you didn't feel like studying languages, you weren't going to study languages. But just like I said at the beginning of this video, something is always better than nothing. So make the most out of your something. And I guess that rounds up this week's video. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you're into this kind of content. If you're new here, my name is Beatrice and I make language learning related content just like this. With this video, I'm really hoping to close the gap between doing nothing and intense language study and just show that there is a middle ground. I'm learning Spanish, but I know not everyone that watches my videos is also learning Spanish as well. So I'm just curious to see, what are you guys up to? What are you learning? I've had some people learning Japanese, Portuguese, like all different types of languages. So just let me know what you're learning. And I think that is all. I will see you guys next week. Bye.